They said, only power can defeat power. Only force can answer force. Only the sword can bring freedom. But I saw strength where the world saw weakness. I saw power where others saw silence. I saw victory without blood. Strength is not in the clenched fist. Strength is in the open hand that does not tremble. Strength is not in how loudly you fight. Strength is in how firmly you stand. Violence is easy. Anyone can strike, but it takes the heart of a lion to stand before violence and refuse to become it. They called me soft. They called me naive. They told me the world would never change unless we burnt it down. But I have seen what happens when hatred meets hatred. The world becomes ash. I wanted something stronger than war. I wanted something that could build after the battle, not just destroy during it. So I chose nonviolence, not as escape, but as a weapon. Make no mistake, nonviolence is not the path of the weak. It is the path of the warrior who has mastered himself. The weak strike back to prove they are strong. The strong do not need to. When a man hits back, the fight grows. When a man stands in silence, the lie breaks itself. Violence feeds on reaction. Starve it, and it dies. This was my war, not to destroy the oppressor, but to destroy the power of oppression itself. They struck us in the streets, but we stood. They raised rifles, but we did not flinch. They shouted, but we answered with silence. And in that silence, they heard their own echo. They saw their reflection, and power began to tremble. Strength without violence is not a performance. It is discipline. It is the steady breath when the world shakes. It is the unblinking gaze of a people who will not kneel. You can break bones, but you cannot break a soul that has chosen peace over fear. Many warriors carry swords. I carried the weight of a nation, and I carried it with bare hands, hands that refused to shed blood. Because if we must destroy ourselves to defeat them, then they have already won. The world believes in the strength of the fist, but I have seen the strength of the heart. A heart that loves without surrender, a heart that forgives without forgetting, a heart that refuses to become what it hates. When they asked me, how can you stand against guns with empty hands? I said, a gun can only kill the body, but it can never touch the spirit. And the spirit, once awakened, is unstoppable. They thought they could break us, but every blow they struck only carved our will deeper into stone, because pain does not weaken the warrior of peace. Pain sharpens him. It teaches him that strength is not measured in force, but in endurance. The strong man is not the one who strikes the hardest. The strong man is the one who refuses to strike at all and still stands tall. There is a fire in the fist, but there is a mountain in stillness, and mountains do not bend for storms. Our movement was not built on rage. It was built on resolve. We marched not to kill, but to awaken, not to conquer, but to reclaim what is rightfully ours. Dignity. Dignity is a weapon. It cannot be stolen. It cannot be burned. It cannot be shot. And when a people rise with dignity, no empire can hold them. Non-violence is not the absence of action. It is the most difficult action of all. To meet hatred without becoming it. To stand in fire and not let it consume your heart. It is not passive. It is power, discipline. They could not understand why we refused to fight them in their language. Because when you fight with their weapons, you play their game. But when you fight with peace, you change the game entirely. You show the world a different kind of power, one that cannot be silenced, one that cannot be shot. I have seen a single act of forgiveness shatter hatred that decades of war could not. I have seen silence speak louder than any shout. I have seen the oppressor lower his head, not before bullets, but before unbreakable humanity. That is the strength of non-violence. To face violence with violence requires impulse. To face violence with peace requires mastery. Mastery over fear, mastery over anger, mastery over the ego that screams for revenge. The weak are loud, the strong are still. They said I would lose everything, and I did, my time, my health, my freedom. But I never lost my strength, because strength does not live in what they can take from you. Strength lives in what they cannot touch, and they could not touch my peace. I have seen soldiers tremble before rifles, but I have also seen empires tremble before unarmed men who refuse to bow. Fear makes violence powerful, but courage makes it irrelevant. Strength without violence is not soft. It is iron wrapped in grace. It is a storm with no sound. I told my people, we will not mirror their cruelty. We will not inherit their hatred. Because the moment you become what you fight, you lose everything you stood for. Freedom gained through hatred is not freedom. It is another cage. When the empire saw we would not retaliate, they grew uncertain. When they saw we stood unbroken, they grew afraid. Because violence understands how to fight anyways. But it does not know how to fight forgiveness. It cannot defeat love. It cannot kill dignity. Do not mistake peace for weakness. It is easy to strike. It is hard to hold your hand still. It is easy to burn. It is hard to build. But building is what makes men into warriors. To every warrior listening to my voice now, if the world hands you hatred, you can choose to give it back or to end the cycle. Choose the harder path. Choose the higher ground. Because the warrior who can conquer himself can conquer the world. When my time is gone, I will not be remembered for raising my fist. I will be remembered for keeping it lowered and still winning. Empires fall, weapons rust, but strength built on peace, it does not die. I am not weak. I am the calm before their storm. I am the silence that shakes their power. I am the mirror that makes them see who they are. I am Gandhi. I am the warrior who fought without the sword and won. I am Gandhi. My strength is not in violence. My strength is in peace. And peace is the weapon they never saw coming.